Hi, everybody. So today, this is a clip from the interview that I did with Traci Braxton's husband, Kevin Surratt, and he addresses a very important issue on this season of the Braxtons, which is the sisters didn't go to the funeral because Kevin didn't do the things that Traci wanted him to do. They insist that Traci did not want a funeral. Now, we know from reading the will this is not true. This is his take on the situation. The sisters didn't go to the funeral. What happened during that time? Why weren't they there? And I was told that Michael Jr. and the father was there. What went on? What was that all about?
So with the service, um, on a Zoom call that was mentioned,
Mhm.
the question was, Surratt, do you have the money for the funeral? I wanted to see how everybody was going to process this. Traci was a member of the Grammys
Mhm.
committee and the DC chapter, and our publicist had already taken care of the arrangements for the funeral. So the arrangements already taken care of, and the Grammy committee support. But they were trying to see where I was at. Saying much on that Zoom call because I felt like it was a ambush. I didn't have anything to talk about because if you wasn't supporting me, why am I on this call talking about
Right.
how's it? How, all right, so I received a call 10 to 15 minutes after Tracy passed. I'm, li- I'm literally sitting. So I I got a call from the attorney, and the attorney said, "It's 10 minutes after she passed, 10 to 15 minutes. I need to read something to you according to the will." Where they do that at? I'm on the
Mhm.
phone and he reading something. I was like, I don't even know what it was because I just lost my wife. This is the behavior I started dealing with as soon as she passed. An hour after she left, I mean, an hour after she uh passed, I was in the room for 2 hours by myself with my wife, waiting for the funeral home to come. Nobody stayed with me. So uh, I I just look at stuff like that, and then I'm getting this call. Then the next day, saying it's going to be a Zoom call. I'm still processing my wife's death. I'm not even, really talking to people. I'm trying to process. Then I got to take care of my son at the same time, and all I'm getting is, "What you going to do? What's going on with this? Blah blah blah." No, not supporting the process. So let's go back to your initial question. We been out. We knew what she wanted. She wanted one viewing, a private viewing. And we set that up with the funeral home that she had put in play. Traci made me talk to the funeral home director when I didn't want to. So the funeral home director came to my house and we talked privately. And she said, "This is what Traci wants." I kept telling her I wasn't there yet, but okay. So I executed everything that Traci wanted from the private viewing, which was set up for my in-laws at the funeral home that my father-in-law had used for his mother, father, brother, sister, and other family members on the Braxton side. So one thing about this funeral home, they know all the Braxtons. So then this narrative came out that my father-in-law wasn't on the list. My sister that you talked to, she was my coordinator. She knew my father-in-law. She was at the door. Her and the funeral home director knew my father-in-law. You still there, Sharrell? You froze. Okay. So all this stuff that's taking place is just really, I feel like trying to just kind of disturb me in this process of grieving my wife. But I was working through it. And so I worked through it, and then I was able to make sure everybody was good. Now, my father in law and brother in law did come in to the private viewing. And this was the last time we had Traci's body. And she was beautiful that day. Me and my son made sure she looked excellent for her final viewing. And we also FaceTime my mother-in-law, sister-in-laws, and I all had them on the phone, and they saw her on FaceTime and said she was beautiful in the initial looking at her. So the private viewing, we had everything set up for everybody to come in, and it was a no-show. Now, I expected to have them for that, the private viewing. It was a no-show. I had that row set up, so a lot of people, I had security there, so a lot of people wouldn't bother them. You know what I mean? Because it's not the time or place. So I made sure I invited people who understood that, and they never showed up. So I kept things moving, and we the celebration was the second thing that she was okay with. Now she asked that we don't do any uh, Zeta rites because when you're in a sorority, you have rights
Yeah.
and about burial rights, memorial rights, whatever you call it, and then Masonic entity, she also had that right, and in our motorcycle entity, she had that right. She didn't want that, so that didn't happen. All people did was come and speak on it. That's it, and that's what that celebration was. Because Tracy Sharrell, she poured into so many people. She met
Yeah.
so many people on different levels. I used to tell her she overdo it. We can be in Ruby Tuesdays and she got a baby in her arms. I said, Tracy, you can't sit at the bar with this baby, Tracy. You can't do that. But
Yeah.
he just wanted to hold me. So she was just a giving spirit. So, I wanted to celebrate her like that. I felt like she really had touched a lot of people.